going to go back to that hand count paper ballot.
Is that why he's
How?
sending also the troops to all 50 states right now?
Now you're getting it, because if they want to have unrest, if they want to push back, if they want to fight this, he is all ready to fight right back. And he might start out with 500 National Guard troops in every state. That's a core, and we can amp up wherever we need to.
They've got to be shitting their pants. They've got to
Well, because Nino, think about this. You're talking about the end of a system, a cabal, a gang who have been able to put their Capones in power, not just across America, but across the world, to do their bidding behind the scenes. If they get civil war in America, they win. So they need civil war in America. And what Trump is setting up for is, yes, there's going to be civil unrest. There's a dark night coming, but it's a fight that must be had. We will not shirk from our responsibilities to overthrow those who would overthrow us, to stop their mischief here in the country, and to put them in cages where they belong, so they can be on display for generations to come, so that people can see what happens with these sick mentalities.
Visit faithandfreedom.tv and download the Faith and Freedom TV app today. Deception floods our airwaves, but Faith and Freedom TV fights back with truth. Our bold content, news, shows, Bible teachings, worship, and films shines with biblical conviction and patriotic courage, free from globalist lies. We empower Christian patriot creators to share faith and liberty. Access thousands of videos on Roku, FireTV, Apple TV, Android, and iOS. Join the battle at faithandfreedom.tv.
Yeah, it is. I used to enjoy this all the time, every day, but that's been decades ago.
Wow.
So yeah,
Wow.
it's just a fun day. It was raining a couple of days ago. I landed 2 days ago, and I've got to leave in a few hours. But I always love this.
You landed a few days ago, and you're leaving in a few hours from now?
Yeah, I've been here for 2 days. We have such urgent things. This was just a brief stopover, but I'm a sunshine person. I have convertibles because I don't get to use them. But in the past, I used to use them all the time. But I still have dreams, aspirations to just relax, cruise, put the top down, and just enjoy life. So that's.
Well, let's get into this. I mean, there's a lot to talk about.
I'm
today.
a sunshine person. Yeah.
So, all right. So I'm going to pull up some articles here. So it looks like we're going to strike within Venezuela, and a few things. Maduro's asking for Russia and China's help. I don't know if he's going to get it. I doubt it. And then let's just start with that right now. Let's just go ahead and start there. Let's start with Maduro asking for help from Russia and China, and Trump now preparing to hit military targets inside Venezuela.
Well, let's say what are we on back channel?
Yeah, we're on the back channel right now.
So what the deal is that Venezuela was the place where Western intelligence, excuse me, went down the wrong pipe. I don't have a cold. I don't have coffee. I just have to swallow down the wrong pipe. Anyway, Venezuela is the location where intelligence agencies, including our CIA, coordinated years ago to set up the Smartmatic vote system to steal elections all over the world. That evolved into something far more exotic, sinister over the years, and skipping over a lot of the story. By the way, LA County, the largest county in the U.S., uses a vote machine system that they claim is their own unique system. It's actually just a Smartmatic system, and somebody went ahead and gold-plated, polished a turd. Okay, it's just an election manipulation system, and it's based on Smartmatic. Period. So that's why you get all these, like the Marxist Bass, the mayor of Los Angeles, doesn't even hide her Marxism. She goes to watch when Fidel was alive, listen for 3, 4, 5 hours to Fidel give a speech and praises him. And, wow, 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 how beautiful Cuba is. Well, by the way, LA is beginning to resemble Cuba in many ways.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. But
so Smartmatic was based in Venezuela?
Yeah, that was where a lot of that work was done to develop that.
So are we there to retrieve all the evidence there, or just blow them out of it into smithereens?
No, it's a different thing than that. Venezuela has essentially been in full collapse now for almost a decade, and in the course of that, uh, it became so bad that the people that were manipulating elections all over the world, the technicians involved there, prior to the 2020 election, they had to move to Serbia. And so they moved their control systems to Serbia. Literally, I was talking with someone who had been in Venezuela during all of that period, during the collapse. And he said that within their household, within their family, their cat came up missing. And a neighbor's dog came up missing. And others complained about the same thing. Well, the people were starving. So they were literally, any cats and dogs that existed, they were grabbing them and eating them.
That might happen here in America now that the SNAP is running out.
Well, we kind of laugh about it, but I don't think that's at all what's going to happen. But it's going to be, scary at some level. America's going through a near-death experience shortly. So, but in Venezuela, as things collapsed, they couldn't even run the election manipulation systems from there, so they moved it to Serbia. And in Serbia, a particular building was purchased, and John Brennan co-purchased it, owns that building along with the wealthiest man in Serbia. And that's where all the servers were located to do election manipulation around the world. They had to test that system because they moved locations. And so in 2019, a year before our 2020 elections, the new election manipulation system operating out of Syria was tested on the South African elections. And of course, we got Ramaphosa. Ramaphosa is the president of South Africa. He's the one that, with his entourage, was in the Oval Office with Trump many months back. And Trump pantsed him right there in front of the whole world. He's acting like he's all there to do a trade deal. He's all happy. They're going to do minerals and everything else. And Trump exposes them for his racism and setting up and manipulating the killing of the white farmers and showing the funerals, and asked him about this. And
Ramaphosa, it was crazy to watch. Yeah.
Well, and Ramaphosa acts all innocent and dumb, and he doesn't know, and he'll have to look into it. To his aides, are you aware of this? Do you know anything about this? What's happening? And by the way, when we're done getting Maduro into custody, remember, a Justice Department under Pam Bondi issued they went to grand jury, got an indictment of Maduro as a drug runner, funding terrorist organizations, and being in office illegally, killing off the Venezuelan people, by the way. I mean, they're just destroying Venezuela. Venezuela is wealthier than Saudi Arabia in oil. And yet they're, when I was talking with the guy, he says, we first noticed it when our cat went missing and the neighbor's dog went missing and stuff like that. And then we had a rat problem, and the rat problem disappeared with no cats. And then it was the mice. Why? Because people were literally starving to death. It's a joke in Venezuela, except it's not a joke. And so they moved their election systems to Serbia, tested it on the South African election system, got Ramaphosa into office. He's the one that, with the protection of a bunch of billionaires there, and by the way, Elon comes from South Africa and others, but there's a bunch of other billionaires there too, who were raping other countries in Africa, predominantly Congo, and going in and stealing their mineral wealth. And at the same time, overseeing the killing of not just thousands or hundreds of thousands, but millions and millions and millions of people. And also collusively working with Iran. Iran was all over in the Congo situation. Iran's all over in the South African situation. In fact, there's a big scandal that was going on when I was in South Africa a few months back about one of the South African generals up in Iran working out deals with Iran on weapons, and they were doing a joint military exercise in South Africa to see about coordination between their armies and navies and all that sort of thing. So South Africa tied at the hip with Iran. Right now, over at the Justice Department, President Trump referred Ramaphosa and his crew over to the Justice Department to look at criminal indictments, just like he did with Maduro in Venezuela. Ramaphosa is next on the list. And I expect a similar $50 million bounty.
So hold on. So you're telling me we're going to go into Africa after Venezuela?
Africa, you can't let the killing continue. Trump, I've told your audience this before. Trump wants to stop the death, killing, murder. Imagine if Trump had succeeded back when he had an agreement between Russia and Zelensky shows up at the White House. They're going to sign the ceasefire, and then they're going to work through some kind of a peace deal that may take many months to complete, but they're going to work through the process to come up with a peace deal to stop the killing. And that was 6 months ago. How many lives have been lost at 3,000 lives a week each side since that? When Zelensky said, no, my advisors, literally the Brits, are advising me not to sign a ceasefire until I have a peace deal. So we're going to keep fighting, or else Russia won't negotiate with us fairly. And Trump's like, I'm going to make sure they negotiate fairly. I'm going to handle the deal, and we're going to work it out. But the real problem was the U.S. made it very clear we weren't paying for the rebuilding of Ukraine. People weren't going to pay that. They could pay for it out of mining operations and wealth. We'd give them a long-term deal to, let them pay us off with minerals. They wanted the war. They got the war. They kicked Russia in the teeth and ass and poked the bear, and they got what they got. Them and their globalist cohorts, so they can pay to rebuild Ukraine. American people aren't going to be strapped with that. That didn't sit well with the Brits and their puppet Zelensky. And so remember when Zelensky, right there in the White House, in the Oval Office, where he came to sign the peace agreement, suddenly out of the blue announces he's not signing it. And it has to be a peace deal. And they're like, well, we got to stop the killing. We got to stop the murder. We got to, you're losing thousands of people a week. So's Russia. Let's stop fighting, and we'll put more energy and time into the peace deal. In the meantime, every week that they're bombing stuff, you don't rebuild communication center, power centers, streets, buildings, everything else in a day or an hour. If it was going to take, 15 years to rebuild Ukraine from the war back then, it'll take 20, 25 years now, because they're just beating each other's brains in. And plus all the life that's lost, the men. I think I sent it to you, Nino, a week or so ago. One of the Ukrainian soldiers, man, looked to me to be in his late 30s, early 40s. And he'd been near a explosion. And so it gave him shaken baby syndrome. Concussion, and he had to recover from it, but he was getting ready to go back to the front. And he said that Zelensky and the Ukraine government, their only future is to exterminate the Ukrainian people. That's their only answer, is that they're presiding over the extinction the extermination of the Ukrainian people with this unending war. They're not going to take over Russia. They're not going to stop Russia from, existing. They're making a dent. Clearly, it's costing lives, but they're not going to win this. So why wouldn't they sign that peace deal? And when Zelensky left the White House, within 12 hours, he shows up over with the Brits. We're really running him and really want this Central European war to keep Russia out of Europe for commerce, and their oil and gas out of Europe for commerce, because they want to bring it out of their, own controlled locations. And the Brits agreed to send troops and arms and all sorts of things in to keep Zelensky going in the war. And, that's this fight that Trump's in. Just stop the killing all over the world. In Sudan today, right now, they've been killing all the men off in this war. And now government troops have come into to Sudan, and they're taking all the women and children and sorting them out by age and strength and everything else. And they're selling them off into slavery right now today as we speak, this second. This move just started in the last week. You don't see, any of the usual suspects out protesting what's happening to the Sudanese women and children.
Well, hold on. Yeah. That's absolutely horrific, man. I mean, I understand that. So how fast do you think we'll get through the operations with Venezuela, take them out, and then shift focus to Africa? Or will it be a simultaneous war?
No, we're going to be methodical. Right now, think of shock and awe back at the beginning of a Desert Storm. We'll do some strikes at their military bases. Anybody that's dumb enough to be in the way is going to get taken out.
So, can you hear me, Juan?
Resistance force. And don't kid yourself. We got a pretty good idea where Maduro is. They don't want to just go in and grab Maduro. They want to go dismantle his system, his machine. It'd be like taking out Al Capone and leaving all of his lieutenants in power. They're killing the Venezuelan people. Just the other day, I had some people that are here out of Venezuela. They left the horrors in Venezuela and came to the U.S. about 7-8 years ago. They actually got proper entry papers, visas, and everything else, but their status has been changed just in the last few weeks, so they're scared to death. But the Venezuela they left, like the dad said, if we had stayed, we would all be dead now. It's only because we had some place to go, and we couldn't have stayed in any other countries and survived. And they've done well in the U.S. Not, they're not family wealthy or something like that, but they've been able to pay rent, get steady work, and they had proper entry papers, etc. And so they weren't here as illegals. But the question is, how long they'll be able to stay? Is what's the situation going to be? And then they have relatives and friends in Venezuela still, the survivors that need to be freed. And as I said, once we get it stabilized there, it may very well be worthwhile going back home.
So are we going to occupy? Are we going to be occupying Venezuela?
Pretty to look at, pretty to hold. But if you break it, it's sold. If we're going to go in there and start breaking things, we're going to go in there and occupy the area to bring it into a stable situation.
So is this going to be like another Iraq?
Well, I don't know that it's exactly an Iraq situation or even a Vietnam or something like that. Trump's pretty decisive in things that he does. He won't go in there and play. He's done with just fucking around, as he would literally say it himself. He says that or a variation of that when he finally reaches his limit. He's pretty slow to get there, but when he gets there, no more fucking around.
Well, I would imagine that just with drones, you can just send in a fleet of drones and take out almost every person there if you wanted to. I mean, our technology now is so much more advanced than it was with Iraq and Vietnam.
We're weapons hot to go do things that we have to do in Venezuela. And whatever means that Trump uses, it'll be very surgical because he's not going after the Venezuelan people. He's going after their overlords that have gotten into power through election chicanery and are being run by the Cubans, Chinese, Russians. Okay, everybody's there. All the intelligence agencies are there doing stuff because they're all hoping to win the far side of this. Why? Because it's wealthier than Saudi Arabia in oil, and so that's part of why it's so sickening and sad. This was a very wealthy country, very well to do. The person I talked to the other day in Venezuela, when he was in his late 20s, he was driving the latest new model Mercedes. His wife had a little Mercedes convertible. He had a small business there, not the riffraff. As he says, I'm glad to be in America alive, even if it's just cleaning barns and standing outside Home Depot and trying to get some work, and somehow putting, rubbing two nickels together and holding it together in a very modest house with several family members and just a small 2-bedroom house. Has been working towards becoming a U.S. citizen. Isn't one yet, but now their status has changed. The people of Venezuela, very much like Argentina, these are our folks, believers, Christian nation, Catholic predominantly, but in one hell of a fight. And by the way, look at what's going on next door in Brazil. I was getting calls from people in Brazil, in Rio de Janeiro, that were in the middle of this huge war on the streets of Rio de Janeiro the other day. They were saying in the press 65 dead. My person was there said, "Oh, it's got to be a couple hundred at a bare minimum," and just and injured and everything else. And it was a full blown war.
Yeah, I saw in Rio de Janeiro. I saw the videos on that.
Mm-hmm. So, and I was talking with folks that were right in the middle of that, and it was pretty harrowing. But let me just add this one thing. So Trump wants to go in and stop the drug flow. That's what he talked with Xi about the other day in the tariff discussion over in Asia. He says, "What are you going to do to help us stop the flow of drugs? Because these are Chinese companies and their chemicals that are going into these locations around the world and making the drugs. The drugs that are going into Europe, a lot of it was coming through South Africa. And the way it was getting into South Africa in the first place is on boats, Chinese boats, ships that were ferrying drugs from Venezuela over to South Africa. And then they were trading the drugs for abalone and other seafood items that are worth a lot in China, and trading the drugs with guys that would go out beyond 20 miles out in their seaworthy skiffs and do these trades, and then bring it back to South Africa down there to Cape Town, and then ship it by other means up into Europe and make all their money. And that was China that was doing that. China's responsible for a lot of the drugs. When you think about it, one of my very good friends is the chairman of the board over at Victoria's Voice, Mina Liu. Mina's doing absolutely amazing work, but Victoria's Voice, Jackie Segal, her daughter, died of a drug overdose as a teen, and it was a horrible thing. Her husband wanted to do something with it. They've written the book Victoria's Voice, and to help understand what happened. Those drugs, the fentanyl especially, they're pushing the narconon that can buy you the golden hour to save somebody's life. A lot of these people, they've been conned and baited into the drug usage and all that, and it's killing off the youth of countries all over the world, including America, and especially America. It's an attack on our youth to take away the strength, the next generation here in America, and weaken us for other things to come if China was to get their way.
So
it's
all strategy is what you're saying, obviously.
It's part of their strategy to get the drugs in here that are so cheap, and then they change the potency at different times. So somebody that's got a potency that works, all of a sudden they get a hot load, and next thing you know, bang, they're dead. They never saw it coming. It's not just dying from the drugs either, by the way. It's also, it damages your ability to think straight, and it unravels your consciousness. And so a lot of the deaths, they're not seen as drug deaths. They're seen as other things. The kid that goes wild in the car, the kid that, jumps off a building, commits suicide. I remember back, for a lot of your listeners that are a little longer in the tooth, remember what happened to Art Linkletter's daughter. Here he had this fantastic TV show. His stuff with the kids say the craziest things that were just so iconic at the time. Yeah. And yet his daughter, kind of like a scene from Forrest Gump, it got hold of her bad enough, and
there's no doubt that it's bad, and I know that China is funding a lot of the cartels. So what do you think about Venezuela's Maduro? I brought up an article here seeking Russian military support amid U.S. buildup, but they're also seeking China's support. I mean, wouldn't it be in China's interest to help them, or no? I mean, is it now, now that Trump's doing a deal with China, they're going to stay out of it? I mean, is Maduro to be left on his own now?
No. In fact, they'll probably try to help him as much as they can while trying to keep a little bit of distance. They fear President Trump because of his resolve. And they fear America where they didn't before, because the leadership was weak and untethered. We have taken on the weight of doing that which is necessary.
Elitist media deceives, but Faith and Freedom TV amplifies truth. Our world-leading platform delivers news, teachings, worship, movies, and music rooted in biblical values and constitutional patriotism, inspiring faith and liberty. We inspire, equip, and amplify Christian patriots to share powerful stories of faith, family, and freedom. With live events, thousands of on-demand videos, and access on Roku, FireTV, Apple TV, Android, and iOS, we're transforming culture globally for God and country. New content is coming to ignite faith. Join our mission to counter deception. Visit faithandfreedom.tv and download the Faith and Freedom TV app today.
To save lives. That's where Trump's at. He wants to save lives across board, stop the death, stop the killing, because from a demonic, satanic perspective, as lives are lost, be it war, drugs, any kind of unrest, the hell is fed. These devilish, demonic, satanic objectives are fed and strengthened. Trump is working to stop the death, murder, killing, violence of any form, to bring a more peaceful environment for us to live and work and produce in, that doesn't serve Satan and his ambitions and a hellish trajectory for mankind. And if he can bring that, the momentum, the energy, from just having a little bit of peace, a little bit of room to build your business, raise your children, come back to some kind of, something approaching the normalcy of the ideals, that we had in mind after World War II, after the Korean War, to just have a life for a period of time. when we prospered and went forward. That's what Trump wants. And it's not an unrealistic vision for America and the world. If we're not feeding the devil and his demons, they're not as strong and powerful. We overcome by peace. All the things that we talked about in the 60s and like that, but a real peace, not a fake peace. That's why Trump, he is just so, when he gets pissed off, when he's done with it, people around him, within the Oval Office, within his life, he will tolerate, talk, work, try to sort things out. When he's done, he has a fuck it attitude. We're just going to get this done. I'm tired with the bullshit. We're not going to play around anymore. We're done with that. We're going in and we're going to fix this. And people that, I'll give you an example. He said the other day that he's going to sign a executive order concerning paper ballots and no mail-in votes for the 2026 election. And I've talked with your audience before. It was a team that joined me, put together right after the inauguration the next day out in D.C. and asked them, if they could put something together. I'd seen an executive order regarding hand count paper ballot, and I wasn't too impressed with it. And so the folks put together something that was absolutely, I think, astounding, and been on the president's desk since March. And he made known that he was about to sign this executive order regarding hand count paper ballot. Now, that's important. No machines. And that was the prerequisite. No machines at all, okay, to handle the count. And by the way, we're going to clean up the voter rolls because there's no way to go in and fix the crooked voter rolls down at the state and county and municipal levels. So you're going to have to re-sign up to elect in the to vote in the 2026 election. Clean voter rolls, prove that you're an American citizen and that you actually have a right to vote. No more diluting of American citizens' votes by fraud, in the machines, paper ballots, other things. Oh, go ahead.
So, Juan, let's just pivot for a second because I'm trying to cram a lot into this broadcast.
Well, I was going somewhere with that, but I'll come back to it. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, there was a Dearborn, Michigan scare. The FBI thwarted a terror attack in Dearborn, Michigan, and I've been, we've all been saying that this is coming. This is one they've stopped, but how many cells in America are going to be activated and not be stopped is my concern. So I'm going to show the article right here. It says FBI stops potential terrorist attack, raids homes in Dearborn, Michigan facility. And do you think maybe that this was a false flag on our end to give us permission to go into Dearborn and start doing raids and things like that?
Well, certainly the false flags have happened before.
But to our benefit is what I'm saying. Like, could it be something that we...
Again, the false flags have happened before to give cause for going in. So you always wonder. I don't know the details on this one as far as whether it's a false flag or not. I have no idea.
No, but I mean, that's a false flag from the good guy.
Timing. I get you. A false flag by the good guys. I have no knowledge.
So we can go in there and just start rounding these people up.
Well, it wouldn't be the first time that's happened. Okay, yeah. I get it. Is it? I don't know. It's convenient on the timing. I will tell you this, and it goes to the point I was trying to make a moment ago, and I'll complete that with this question also. When Trump reaches a particular point, he is done with playing around. No more playing around. We're done. We're going to get this actually accomplished. We're not just going to talk. We're not going to play around. We're tired of the playing around. Don't bring me patty cakes, okay? We're going to go fix this. That's, it's like when the ice skating rink wasn't done in New York after a couple of years, and he just flat ass got pissed off and goes in and fixes the ice skating rink there in New York and takes a few months and gets it done after years, and they're not finishing the project. In the various issues, whatever issue you may find, just like all these little terrorist cells getting ready to take some attack on America and they're, wringing their hands, getting ready to go in and attack America. And Trump the other day says, okay, we're creating in every single state in the union, we're creating a reaction force of National Guard troops, 500 minimum, to be able to deal with any unrest in every state. He just announced that, and I want them all in place by January 1. Some of them are already in place, just so you know. But one for every state. He's done screwing around. We're going to get this done, and he orders it. Within what I was mentioning to you a second ago on the election stuff, where he's getting ready to do something, at the same time I asked for a better written executive order concerning hand count paper ballots and all the minutiae of information that our coalition has developed over the last years in the courts and political and all that. Knowing what we know now, how would that executive order look? We wrote a proposal in 17 pages. I understand, and we'll see when it's released, what Trump said he's going to release in the next few days, what it looks like, but we've been told it's fairly close to what we had with some changes because of the national emergency, which is in our version. The proper way to do it is declare a national emergency in elections and then issue the executive order concerning hand count paper ballot, and then you can control the election process, including, most important thing, voter rolls right down to the county level. And but in that same thing, I had asked another group and traveled, met with them, and talked to them that had the right credentials to submit a proposal, I shouldn't say a proposal, but a interrogatory explaining why machines couldn't be used from a technical standpoint as a national security risk, and that we couldn't use machines in the vote. And they had the right credentials to do that. And my questions were, number one, can the existing election system, as we have it now in America, in the aggregate and total, be used and run a 2026 election and safely, and actually get the people that people are voting without foreign interference or interference inside the country? And of course, the answer is no. We have numerous people all across the country and around the world that, whether it's the algorithms, the mechanics, the stuff that plugs in, even the personnel, through fraud or just ignorance, the way they run the elections. You can't. It's a 2026 election, the most important election in our lifetime. They keep getting more important every time. It cannot be run safely with any expectation that the people that are actually voted for by the citizens are the ones that actually win and take office. And that's no. Second question, can the existing systems, which are kind of a whole bunch of different systems patched together around the states and the country, be modified with new equipment, techniques, systems, so that they can be run in 2026 safely? Can the system be improved, honed, modified, corrected to run a good election in 2026? No, there's no time. Even if you made universal things, there's so many different systems, and then you got to train and certify and verify. There's no time. There's not enough time, even with the year till the election, to get that accomplished. The third question, from a technical standpoint, machine, thinking of this as a military defense system, you can't miss. It has to work every time without fail. You can't have one failure. Is there a system out there that is in the world that could be purchased in volume, deployed across America to the 2,500 counties, and trained and everything else in time for the 2026 election to run the election safely? Is there a machine system out there anywhere, many groups of company that exists that we can buy? The answer is no. Fourth question, but you have to have an answer from people that actually have the credential to say that decisively, not just a hodgepodge of professors and elections officials and politicians and mathematicians and everything else. So the fourth question: can a system be created that would be safe and deployed and certified and trained for and everything else for 2026, a machine system for the elections in America? And the answer also again is no. The group that had I felt the credentials to make that statement, to do that study in an authoritative way from within, the defense industry, national infrastructure, defense infrastructure. They provided a report that said all of that, but then they fudged it a bit at the end and said, but we do have something that some of our people have come up with that involves machines to help make sure the vote count gets done quickly. And we've established we think it's safe and blah, blah, blah. And this should be done. So President Trump gets this report on his desk. He likes the one about hand count paper ballot and all the mechanics that have to be gone through in order to do a hand count paper ballot legally, executive order wise, national emergency, the whole schmear. He gets the other report on his desk, and it starts out great on the points that I asked them to cover. And then all of a sudden they come into, but we have a machine that we've come up with. Well, it looks opportunistic. These guys are all retiring from, their technical jobs, and now they want to sell something and sell it to the country and have the president bless it, do whatever. And Trump was pissed. He'd already made known numerous times hand count paper ballot, just like France and India do. Okay. Smaller precincts, and they get it all done by midnight. No machines, no machines, no machines, no machines, no machines. And then they come in, and at the end, they say none of the stuff existing works, but we have a special one that we want to do. There's no time to deploy at the time and to prove and test and everything else. They want to do it later. Great. So what does Trump do? Fuck it. He is so pissed. He is so annoyed because they didn't get it. Think of any subject. The reason I'm telling that story is think of any subject: the drug running, the not getting to a peaceful ceasefire with Ukraine, the stuff going on in Africa, to just stop the killing, stop the chicanery, and get real and stop playing around. That's where Trump's at. And so now, as you come into this moment where he's about to announce hand count paper ballots, counted where cast, no transporting them in the trunk of a police car, or the firemen in their baskets, or grandma in her knitting basket, counted where cast, and then posted right then and there all across the country. We used to do it with precinct voting, and he's going to go back to that hand count paper ballot, and with military supervision in a national emergency setting.
Is that why he's sending also the troops to all 50 states right now?
Now you're getting it, because if they want to have unrest, if they want to push back, if they want to fight this, he is all ready to fight right back. And he might start out with 500 National Guard troops in every state. That's a core, and we can amp up wherever we need to.
They've got to be shitting their pants. They've got
to. Well, because Nino, think about this. You're talking about the end of a system, a cabal, a gang who have been able to put their Capones in power, not just across America, but across the world, to do their bidding behind the scenes. Remember, Cuba is the one that's running Venezuela from behind the scenes. Where did you get the Cuba lover as the mayor of the city of Los Angeles? How did that election happen? Marxist Mayor Bass and other positions. Remember the Soros push to get attorney generals across the country that were from within the Soros support system. And what happened in South Africa, you had 17, when California was burning before Biden left office, as the Palisades fires were occurring, where was the mayor of Los Angeles? She was in South Africa with a bunch of other Soros sycophants and these AGs working their strategy how to attack Trump and take Trump out even after he takes power January 20th of 2025. As the fires were burning, they were plotting the demise of Trump and America and handing it over to their globalist masters. So you think about that. It's pretty, it's pretty amazing what is going on here in America right this second. And this fight that they're willing to do, all of the Act Blue money, ready to take on citizens across America, trying to create civil war. The Obamas is the executive producers of a series about civil war in America because that's their wet dream. If they get civil war in America, they win. So they need civil war in America. And what Trump is setting up for is, yes, there's going to be civil unrest. There's a dark night coming, but it's a fight that must be had. We will not shirk from our responsibilities to overthrow those who would overthrow us, to stop their mischief here in the country, and to put them in cages where they belong, so they can be on display for generations to come, so that people can see what happens with these sick mentalities.
What's the deal with people moving their families to the military bases? Let's cover that real quick.
Well, there's been in the public reports, we knew that it was happening, but I didn't think that I should say anything. It wasn't appropriate to let somebody else decide to say it. But Pam Bondi, a week and a half ago, and they've been developing the case for some time prior to this. They took into custody a man who agreed to kill Pam Bondi. It was 42 or 48,000 that he was going to take to kill Pam Bondi, and as an assassin. There's threats towards other people. We've been saying for quite a while, you got to up the security for some of these critical people, especially like Tulsi. Okay. And so now it's been reported just the last 24 hours, really, 36 hours, that in fact, a number of these people are in fact at secure locations on military bases now, working from those locations. Well, why would that be?
How much was the hit on Pam Bondi? 40 what?
42 or 48,000 is what I think the number was. It didn't matter. It was a hit on Pam that was, out there to be executed.
And so that's what's making everyone move to the military bases.
You were mentioning a minute ago how much of this stuff is set up to give an excuse, like the thing up there in Michigan.
So you admit it.
And Cleveland, all that. Well, I mean, I'm just saying that, it's these things happen. Okay, well, is it like that or not? I don't know. So I'm not going to say that it was a false flag. I don't know. Okay. There's plenty of real threats out there. It doesn't surprise me at all. If there was a real threat that's going on, that would surprise me. So at the end of the day, for whatever reason, the Pam Bondi thing became the trigger. And then these people weren't asked. They were told, we're moving you to inside the wire.
So who is it? Just people within the Trump administration, or is it just all politicians, or what?
No. It's certain key agency heads. That number will probably continue to grow because we're getting ready to go into a war. But this war with the group in Venezuela, Cuba, Serbia, China, everything else is probably going to continue to accelerate. So we're going to have to protect some of these key personnel and key places while we go dismantle these monsters. So that's the way it is.
Juan, thank you for joining me.
Yeah, of course, bro.
All right, let's go. Let's do a quick YouTube hit.
All right, fair enough.
Oh, and go to thejennifermack.com, folks. Thejennifermack.com. I'll put it there down at the bottom.
Yeah, and you can also go over to Gumroad, to the allpatriots.gumroad.com. We've only got the Gitmo coins left. I think that's all we'll have for the rest of the year. But it's accurate. It's important. It's going to be one of those collector pieces like the other ones that are out of production now too, related to what's coming with the arrests. And in their series, they tell a story. So it'll be fun for collector stuff for people. Jen has some of the 2020 jackets and the Megador jackets. In fact, wait till you see what happens in December. We got something happening at Mar-a-Lago in December that'll be very fun. And those Megador jackets will be quite popular, I think, after that again. So we have a few of those that I've signed, and Jennifer's site. So those are fun things. And let me just add this one thing, when prices get seemingly high in the metals or the markets or anything, the prices tend to gyrate more because the prices are higher. The span peak to trough is higher because it's 2-3 times the value what it might have been a year or two ago. And so you see those gyrations, but the solid momentum is to significantly higher prices. And the next real stop is at 70. It's all of this world pressure to hold down silver prices below 50 has not really worked well. And you see it just powering on in spite of the paper manipulations like that. You're not wrong to get silver. I'd love you to buy stuff that we have that's kind of fun collector stuff. At the end of the day, junk silver, or what we call bag silver, which is U.S. coin, 364 U.S. coin, not buying it for collector stuff, just for the pure silver weight coinage. It's minted. You don't melt it down to find out if it's pure or not. Is probably, if you have to buy a significant amount, is your best buy. And the reason it's also a very important good buy, it's not that the silver is going up in price. It's not that the gold or even platinum is going up in price. It's that the dollars or the digital currency, the crypto you're buying it with, is going down in value. So it takes more and more and more dollars to buy the same amount of silver. The silver isn't changing in value or these other tangibles. It's the currency that you're buying it with. When Trump goes back to a gold-backed dollar, a silver-backed dollar, like Kennedy had with his silver certificates tied to real silver in the Treasury, you'll be safe because you have what the Treasury is going to go back and redenominate our currency in. In the meantime, the Federal Reserve notes are a very dangerous place to be. And so you really need to think about how you're holding your wealth and preserving it moving out in the future. And this isn't, I'm not advertising for any single gold or silver company, whatever. Buyer beware, please take physical custody of silver or gold you buy. Don't put it in a vault somewhere, it's in somebody else's custody. But this is a good moment to seriously consider, pray about it, to protect your wealth against things that are going to happen when we're through with Venezuela, when we're through with Maduro, and then move to South Africa like that. Along the way, honest elections, and then honest currency, honest money, trade your life energy for. And you don't want to be on the losing side of that, the wrong side of this battle that's going on for how we denominate our life energy.
I've noticed before anything hits, Argentina, Japan, Africa, you're always there first, Juan. You're always there first.
It's
You're always there. I notice, everyone notices, you're always there months before something kicks off over there.
everything in Hawaii, you're fine. Don't worry. Oh, you know what? Oh no, Nino, I gotta tell you this. 2 days ago, okay? 2 days ago here in Hawaii, they were having a phone conference with the state elections board and a bunch of concerned citizens here. It was supposed to last a half hour, an hour, Zoom call. Went for 5 hours. What was going on? Nobody can account for 19,000 mail-in ballots in Hawaii County, Big Island, that were counted in the 2020, I believe, his election, and then other elections since have been similar. Actually, I think it was 2022. And they can't account for 19,000. But where did they come from? See, the mail system takes a picture of every piece of mail that goes through the mail system. So how do you get mail-in ballots that the post office can't account for? They don't see them anywhere in the system. Where did they get injected at? How did they get counted? What the hell is going on here? So even here in Hawaii, we have this huge case in Utah, RICO case. Tracy Halverson brought that we talked on your show with folks about. And by the way, that's going crazy. Any citizen can sign on to the complaint. It's a
I got eaten alive for that one. I'm like nervous to even have you back on YouTube. Fuck, I got kicked in the balls like endless.
Oh, well, yeah, it's okay. I mean,
Nino, shut up, Nino. Bad Nino's corner. Boy, cat Nino's. It's just like, oh my Lord.
Oh man, I got.
But I kept it up for you, Juanito.
Well, you remember, you've got a few trolls out there that they puff up puffer fish, right? And they try to be bigger than they really are, so they're controlling everything. And but they're fake accounts, they're multiple accounts of the stuff. They're talking to each other. They're AI.
I think these people are real, and they were pissed.
Well, some of them are. Some of them are because as we go through that RICO suit there in Utah, you're talking about taking out a sitting governor, taking out a sitting senator. Okay. And now Oregon's preparing. In fact, oh my gosh, in Oregon.
Well, let's take it to YouTube right now.
Well, all right. Well, now we're in danger. Danger, Will Robinson.
I know, but I want to, hey, I'm running on fumes. I have to go to the hospital every.
Okay, all right,
hour.
all right. Go ahead.
All right, folks. See you at YouTube.
The markets are in turmoil. Global trade disputes, government debt, and economic shifts are creating unprecedented uncertainty. Yet, gold and silver remain the ultimate safe haven assets, thriving when chaos reigns. Kirk Elliott Precious Metals empowers you to safeguard your future. Call 720-605-3900 or visit kepm.com/B2T to discover how to reposition your portfolio into low-cost, fully liquid gold and silver bullion. Unlike firms pushing overpriced rare coins, KEPM educates you, avoids high commissions, and charges nothing when you liquidate. With governments and banks scrambling, now is your chance to invest in assets that have stood the test of time. Join thousands who trust KEPM to protect their retirement with integrity. Call 720-605-3900 or go to kepm.com/B2T today to seize this historic bull market opportunity. Transform your health with the power of light. Introducing the future of natural healing. Are you seeking a natural, effective way to enhance your well-being, reduce pain, and accelerate healing? If you're looking for quick fixes or ignoring the importance of natural health solutions, this might not be for you. Backed by years of research and testimonials from health professionals, our quantum energy infrared light harnesses the scientifically proven benefits of red and infrared light therapy. Designed for those who value holistic health practices, our device offers a non-invasive, drug-free method to support your body's natural healing processes. Visit QEstrong.com now to discover how quantum energy can revolutionize your health routine. Experience deeper sleep, enhanced muscle recovery, reduced inflammation, and improved skin health, all with just a few minutes of use each day. Don't miss out on the healing power of quantum energy. Visit QEstrong.com and learn more to take the first step toward the healthier you. Join the thousands who have already discovered the life-changing benefits of quantum energy. It's time to prioritize your health and well-being. Unlock the healing power of light.
Hello, I'm Jordan, and this is my brother. And I'm Nace, and we're at the Grid Down Chowdown. And this is Larry, who is a local rancher that we've partnered with. Now, Larry, you've been ranching for over 4 generations, is that correct?
That's correct. I'm 3rd generation, my son's 4th generation, and I've got some grandkids that are 5th generation.
Man, that's awesome.
We've been here for quite a while, yeah.
All right, now, Larry, your cattle is grass-fed, grass-finished, and pasture-raised, just like God intended them to be.
Yes, because I want to know what's in that animal.
Right.
What it's been fed. And so the only way to do that is for us to keep it all natural, just like God has done it for years and years and years, thousands of years.
How has partnering up with us helped you and your ranch?
Well, it's allowed us to develop a market that we didn't have before, one that can get directly to the consumer, and that's great.
And just remember, more importantly, with every package that you buy, we put a salvation track in there. So from the bottom of our hearts, we thank you for allowing us to do what we believe that God has us here to do. And just remember, God loves you. He really does.
Amen.